This is episode 16 of the Gambling Still Sucks podcast. In this episode, we'll discuss some of the pitfalls that I've seen happen in recovery, both to myself and to others. Hey there, and welcome to the Gambling Still Sucks podcast. My name is Jamie. I am a compulsive gambler, and I'm also the host of this show. The last time I gambled was July 15th of 2010. Now, before I get into this week's episode, I wanted to say I hear you loud and clearly. Yes, we are going to have more guests on. I already have a few lined up for the future that I'm really excited about. I'm looking forward to having Rob back on. Rob wants to come on and just kind of do an episode where we discuss different topics, and the same with Michelle. And I know both of their episodes were extremely popular, and I would like to do more episodes and plan on recording quite a few in May, so we'll have a lot of new episodes that are other people telling their story in May and June and on into the future. This is a really crazy month or two for me for business, and so it's been a little hard to do interviews, but yes, I know those are great, and I look forward to bringing more of those interviews to you in the future. So I wanted to do an episode this week on pitfalls I've seen or experienced myself in recovery, just as, again, sort of a warning sign, something to give you the heads up, so hopefully you don't fall into those same pitfalls in your recovery. And this is especially important to me right now because I'm starting to see a lot of numbers add up. And I know on the Discord it started last July, so there are a lot of people on there now with 6 months plus, or 30 days, or 60 days. And as I see those numbers, and if you ever want, it's really cool, go on the Discord and check out the channel called Checking In, I believe, and people put their days there. And so it's really cool. I mean, you see people, Andy checks in with his 4,000 days, which is awesome. So there are a lot of people that check in there, and it's just a cool thing each day to see those numbers grow. And obviously I want to see those numbers continue to grow and see your number continue to grow. And that's obviously what you want as well if you're listening to this podcast. So I wanted to do this episode just to share with you, like I said, those pitfalls that I've seen or experienced so they don't catch you off guard. So the first one I wanted to go over, and it's probably the most common, is that small bet. We've all been there. We've all had that thought, hey, you know what? In the past, I got in trouble because I went and I just gambled too long and for too much money. And this time I'll just go and I'll take $20 and then I'll quit. Or in my case, it was, I'll just go play in this little poker game with buddies. I didn't want to raise any red flags and be like, no, I'm not going to play because I always played. And so I was like, oh, this will be fine. It's a small game, $20, $40, $60. It's not going to lead to the $1,000 losses. This won't be a problem. And so I think we've all experienced those things and those little small bets. This time will be different. That's the thought. This time will be a little different. We'll just stop. We'll control it. It's not going to get out of control. We have it under control. After all, we have 60 days, or in my case, 9 months clean time at that time. And so you just think, all right, I finally got this whole thing figured out, and so I can go do a little small bet, or I can go to the casino with my friends so they don't think anything different. And this is probably by far the number one thing that I've seen as a hiccup, the pitfall that catches most people. It's that belief that this time would be different, and unfortunately, it's just not true. And I once read something, I think, I don't know if it was GA literature or somewhere else, I believe research shows that it takes somewhere between 24 and 72 hours before the person is back gambling at the same level they were when they quit. That last day where they just kind of reached that breaking point and they gave up and said, you know what, I'm not going to do this anymore. It's so bad. So that bad, terrible place, it only takes us 24 to 72 hours to get back there. And I can say this is definitely true. It was true for me. I think that poker game was on like a Wednesday or Thursday night, and by the weekend, my online account was fully loaded up, and every dollar that I had was going right back into it. So that's pitfall number one. Be very weary of those thought processes that this time will be different, or I'll just control it, or I'll have a different amount, because those are the ones that when those thoughts creep up, they're hard to fight off because it seems like it would make sense, and we feel like we would have control. But I've just seen so many people, and once you kind of go down the path, you never have that full control. Then pitfall number two is peer pressure. And I'd say 1 and 2 or sort of both combined with me. Like I said, I didn't want the guys that I used to play poker with to think anything like, hey, why isn't he coming? What's going on with him? And they'd always give me a hard time because poker games, especially with friends, you needed a certain number of people to play. And so you always were bummed out if people didn't play because you didn't have as big of a game. And so I didn't want to throw off that thing. So it was the peer pressure that really sort of, I think, got to me, and I didn't want to do anything. So, and I can see this happening with people a lot. And it's something that you're in a situation and you're out to dinner and everybody wants to go to the casino after to just have a little fun, or your friends are doing some kind of event and there's peer pressure there to be involved. And I'd say this is definitely hardest earlier on. It's very, very hard early on. It gets easier with time. You get more comfortable, and certain people either just say, hey, you know what? You tell them the truth. Hey, I don't gamble at all. I mean, and I've told people, hey, I don't like gambling. I've had bad experiences. Or I say, hey, I've seen friends get in trouble with it, and I just don't do it. I just don't do it. And so you can go that route, or you can share as little as you want. And you can also just say, hey, you know what? I'm not into it. I'm just going to head home. I'm tired. I'm all those things. You can make up excuses. You can use those white lines in this situation to help you get out of a situation where there is a lot of peer pressure. So number 1 was the small bet thought. Number 2 was peer pressure. And then number 3, again, these are all on that same line of thought, and it's social pressure. There are so many places in our day-to-day lives where we feel socially pressured to gamble. And to other people, it doesn't even seem like gambling. And this often comes up. This is the office sports pool. This is the March Madness bracket. Hey, just give me $5, you can be in. The Super Bowl squares, things that people don't think about. And even fundraisers. How many fundraisers are 50-50 drawings? They're raffles. There are these different things that are definitely classified as gambling. And if you follow the GA book to the letter of the law, they are 100% gambling. And while we're on that topic, I heard something on a podcast, and I'm not sure if I mentioned it in last week's episode, but it rings true again here, so I'll repeat it. And it's from Clayton Christensen, who is a Harvard Business School professor. And he made the comment, or I guess it's in his studies, and he says, look, 100% commitment to something is so much easier than 98% commitment. And when you think about that, 100% commitment is so much easier than 98% commitment. It's so true, because with 98, you're constantly looking at 2% of things that are in the gray area, as we like to say. Oh, I don't know, is that gambling, is it not? When you just have complete commitment, 100% commitment, everything becomes easier. And this is something that I think is applicable to all areas of life. 100% commitment is so much easier than 98% commitment. And I've been trying to incorporate that into my life a little bit more because it is really powerful, and it really helps to see things, I think, as more black and white, and you eliminate some of the gray area and some of kind of the anxiety or indecision with things by just going with the 100% commitment. So getting back to this pitfall number 3, these are things, they're the raffle tickets, or hey, your neighbor's kid is selling the lottery tickets where you buy a ticket from them for $50 and you have the same pick 3 number all month. And all of these things, and you feel guilty, and the social pressure. Hey, how can I not give the money to the kid and support his cause? And that's where the approach I've been taking with this, and I think I've heard this from somebody else and many other people do as well, is just in those situations, if you want to support the cause, just give them the $50 or the $5 or whatever it is. Don't take the raffle ticket. That way you're not gambling. And you can just say, hey, you know what? I don't even need the ticket. I don't do that type of stuff. But hey, here's $50. I hope you have a good season. And so you can do those types of things. There's definitely that social pressure. We don't want to appear to be cheap or to not care about other people. And so that's one way to get around it. But if you're in a situation and the people are just relentless, I'd rather be looked upon as being a cheapskate at this point than being broke and having no money because I slipped up and fell into a pitfall and went back to gambling. So again, that 100% commitment is so much easier than 98. If you like the cause, donate the money. Just give them the money. Don't take the tickets or give the tickets away to somebody. Whatever you have to do, it's just one easy way. And again, then you don't have that weight on your mind. You don't have to think about it. And so that's pitfall number 3, social pressure. And then finally, the 4th one I want to talk about, and this one is just sort of the observational research. I don't have any data on it, but it's just clean time. And I don't know why, but there are certain clean time numbers that seem to be places where people tend to trip up and fall into a pitfall more often than not. And from my just kind of, like I say, observational research, these tend to be at those round numbers, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, and then the other one is 9 months. And I don't know why. I don't see as many people at 6 months, and I think you still have that kind of the forward movement of you're halfway to a year, and that's kind of a milestone, so that's not where you want to slip up. But these in-between points, the 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, and again, 9 months, they just seem to come up way too frequently for there not to be something there. And I don't know if there's some underlying psychology, and it's kind of you're in that middle zone, and maybe it's that 100% versus 98% commitment. In those areas, you feel like you're not 100% committed because you're still at 9 months. You're like, man, I still have 3 more months to get to a year. And you're thinking in those smaller picture things instead of thinking bigger picture. And so it's an easy pitfall that I know for me, it was 9 months. I went 9 months with the willpower alone before I fell victim to the social pressures and the small bet. So these things, they don't work in isolation. They tend to work together. But again, there's something to the dates, the 30 days clean, 60 days clean, 90 days clean, and 9 months clean. Those seem to be big places where people trip up. And again, you start to see a little more after a year, somewhere in that year to 2 window. But for the most part, that first little window, those are the ones, they're tough to get through. And I know a lot of it is just it's so fresh and there's so much change. And I know I hear from a lot of people, so much has changed in my life in the last 60 days and 90 days. And that's awesome. And there's so much positive change in that time period. But also be aware that all those changes, they do have another side to them. And a lot of change can be tough. It can be places where it just catches you off guard. And maybe you feel real comfortable and almost too comfortable to where then you stop checking in, you stop attending a meeting, or you stop listening to the podcast. And all of a sudden, because you think you have everything under wrap because you've hit that certain date, all of a sudden things start to just kind of catch up with you. Those little pitfalls begin to add up, and maybe the first couple you fend off, but eventually the willpower tank just isn't full anymore. And it becomes really, really difficult to say no when you get into these situations where social pressures and peer pressure and your own thoughts combined for that perfect storm to set you off. So those are the 4 pitfalls I tend to see most often. And again, a lot of this is observational research and personal experience, but I think there's definitely something to it. So hopefully this helps. Hopefully you can kind of look at this, and as you hit those times, those 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, and 9 months, always be cautious. And obviously it's any days. I mean, 360 days, you're just as at risk as 9 months or 90 days. But again, those just seem to stick out. But keep your guard up. Keep doing the things that got you to 60 days and 90 days and 9 months. And if it's only willpower alone, go back, listen to the last episode again on the dangers, the pitfalls of using willpower alone, because eventually that willpower tank just gets low. So use my experience, use the experience of others to remember, just keep doing the work and good things are going to continue to come. And one last thing as we close this show out, thanks for listening. I truly can't say thank you enough. It's awesome. It definitely is good for my ego, or just kind of my desire to continue this podcast when I go on and I see all the downloads. It's something I wish there were zero. It's something that I wish there were 0 downloads. I wish it was just myself downloading and maybe my mom or something like that, because nobody else had this problem. But I'm glad that this can be a resource and be one piece of a bigger puzzle of recovery for so many people. And so to see, I think I just checked and it was 2,600 downloads. The numbers just keep going bigger and bigger each week. So it's very cool. I appreciate you listening and sharing it with other people. It's been awesome to get your notes. Please continue to send in the notes. I really love to receive those. They're great. They just kind of make me feel good. They make my day. So thanks for those. And with that, I will see you in the next episode. Now, before you go, I'd like to go over a few very important things. First of all, I think it's important to remember that problem gambling is a treatable disorder. There's no scientific evidence or study that suggests that this is just a terminal condition and that we're going to be forced to deal with the negative side effects and results of our actions for the rest of our lives. And so while I know that in the moment it feels like this is something that you're going to be struggling with for the rest of your life, science just doesn't back that up. Recovery is real, but we just need to seek out treatment. And so that brings me to point number 2, which is that help is available. Many of the states here in the United States actually offer free counseling and therapy for not only gamblers, but family members as well. And so you just need to know that these programs are available. And the best way to start finding out more information is to call the hotline number. And that's 1-800-522-4700. Again, that's 1-800-522-4700. And this is the number run by the National Council on Problem Gambling. And so it covers all 50 states, and they're going to have information and be able to start to guide you on the path to seek out help in the area where you live. And these hotlines aren't just available here in the United States. They're available around the world. So just simply open up a web browser, type in gambling help, gambling hotline, and you'll be able to find the information for your local area. In addition to the hotlines, there are numerous places where you can find gambling support and information online. If you go to gamblingstillsucks.com/help, I'll list some of these things, and I'll continue to add to this as I find new resources, whether they're chat groups or online forums or just great information. So again, that was gamblingstillsucks.com/help. As a disclaimer, this podcast does not provide legal or medical advice. Look, I'm not a doctor, a therapist, or an attorney. I'm just a guy who had a gambling problem. So while we'll discuss a lot of topics and I'll provide a lot of insight into what's worked for me, please seek out the help of a professional. Go visit a lawyer, a doctor, or a therapist to help you deal with your gambling problem. The information that we discuss is for informational purposes and should not be taken as professional legal or medical advice. And reliance on the information appearing on the podcast is solely at your own risk. The music for this podcast is Something Elated by Broke for Free and licensed under the Creative Commons.